my quilting friends. My name is Leah Day, and welcome to episode 82 of the podcast. And today, I'll be honest, I'm just doing a putter around kind of episode. I have a new little apothecary cabinet, and an apothecary cabinet is a style with these little drawers. And I have a whole lot of stuff here on the table, some lace and some spools and thread and all kinds of different things. And I have been wanting the excuse to just sit here and get it all organized and have some fun and just kind of chat through a lot of different things. So that's what I'm going to do today. So I love these little style of cabinets, and I have been wanting one for a while to set on one of my tables and just to hold all of my decorative laces. I got on Amazon while I was designing the Miss Bunny doll, and just bought lots of laces. You can get multi-packs of, like 15 yards, 1 yard each of different types of lace, and that's what I did, and I got several packs. And then, ended up with just lots and lots of it that I needed to organize. And then I saw this cabinet in Hobby Lobby, and I was like, oh man, that would be just so perfect. It would be the perfect size and shape for all of these laces to go. And so I kind of waited and thought about it and waited and thought about it, and then the furniture went on sale for 50% off, so I was like, yes! So that made me super happy, and I am just having so much fun. This is really a delight to just be able to sit here and play around with this and fold up all of these laces and put them in the drawers, and I think that's really, it's like half the fun is just the tucking and folding and that kind of thing. And I actually incorporated this into the book, Mally the Maker and the Queen and the Quilt, how much I love this style of cabinet. And I made Grandma's sewing room just full of cabinets like this. And it's really made me think, like, the things that we love, we should embrace those things and go after them. And, incorporating that into the book was, I guess, kind of my first step to saying, I really like those cabinets and I even want to learn how to make one. I think that would be a lot of fun too. And see if I have the right tools and equipment and stuff out in my red barn, in my wood shop, to be able to make something like this. But yeah, I just saw that and it was such a delight, and so I grabbed it, and then I have all these laces. I'm just rolling this up on my hand and then tucking it inside. And yeah, all of these, I really picked up just a nice variety pack, and some of the laces ended up really narrow. This is less than a 1/2 inch wide, and then I ended up with a lot of pieces that were huge. So I've got some pieces that this is like pushing 2-inch wide lace. And just in case you are new to the podcast, we have video in addition to audio, and I will also share some pretty pictures so you can see what I'm talking about. You can see this cute little cabinet. I do wish it was a brighter color, or maybe just like white. That would be nice too, but it's kind of a distressed color. It's gray, and 3 of the drawers have kind of a red front, and 3 of the drawers have kind of a teal front, and then the rest of them are kind of a grayish, and it's definitely a distressed look. Honestly, not so bad. I'm kind of leaning more towards natural wooden stain colors lately, mostly because I've been working on my treadle tabletop. But kind of my mentality is, this one, I'm happy with it the way it is, and then if I make my own apothecary cabinet, then I'll be able to stain it just exactly the right color, so that'll be a lot of fun too. So yeah, I'm just tucking all these laces inside. And another thing that I picked up at Hobby Lobby were all of these spools. So these are just in the crafty wooden section. You can find so many cool things there. I've been really exploring a lot, mostly because I was looking for some different props and stuff to set up with Miss Bunny and shoot pictures and stuff. Didn't end up having a whole lot of time for that, and certainly want to do more with it later on. So I took the spools and did some staining, and these are stained with a couple different types of stain, actually. I tried out, just a couple different colors just to see what I could get, and even this one's it's covered with like a satin polyurethane, so it doesn't have a shiny look, but it just brings out the color of the natural wood. And that was fun. So I'm going to take all of these bobbins that I've got filled that I'm not going to use and wind them onto these wooden spools. So again, just pretty decorations. You can see I filled up one with yellow and one with blue, and they're just fun too. Just fun little props and stuff. I had a great time shooting pictures of Miss Bunny, and I did that this time last week. I was finishing up the pattern, and I shot pictures all day, and I do mean that, like all day. I was out in the crafty cottage shooting photos on a tripod, and like from 10 until 5:30 all day long. But I took those photos and it was so funny. I shot like 250, and then out of those 250, I culled down to 60, 60 that I was like, oh yeah, those are good. And then out of those 60, I only needed 35. So that just lets you know the scale of photography. It's massive. You just need to shoot so much to start with, and then scale down to know actually what gets used. But I'm so pleased with how that turned out. The Miss Bunny quilt pattern, well, I shouldn't say quilt pattern, Miss Bunny sewing pattern is available now, so you can make that doll. And it is illustrated with really nice high contrast black and white images. So, what I like about that is that you can just really clearly see all the information in each photograph. And I really had to play around a lot with my settings and stuff, and I enjoyed learning that, just figuring out exactly what I needed to do in order to get not only the best shot, but then also the best edit. The shooting of the photo is half the battle, the editing is the other half the battle, and then learned exporting. I really haven't, played around very much with exporting different sizes and that kind of thing. So yeah, all around learned a lot. And at the end of it, it was definitely like, wow, this doll pattern was a lot of work. But at the end, I definitely felt like very, very proud of what I had accomplished. And I think that's really important. Sometimes I feel rushed on projects, and I sometimes don't feel as proud of the finished thing as I want to, whether it's just like I've got a deadline or I just don't have a choice, but on certain projects, especially this one, I really took my time on that and shot the photos and had a good time with it. It came out great, and I'm really, really proud of that one. And the Miss Bunny sewing tutorial, you can learn how to make her body, arms, legs, whole 9 yards. You can find that tutorial at mallythemaker.com/bunny. And you can see how to put her together. It was lots of fun to create that tutorial. That is one of the longest tutorials, though, I would have to say, that I have ever created. It was pushing an hour and a half. And the main reason, I considered cutting. I really did. There are times that I'm just like, oh man, I'm being really verbose, or that kind of is, I've kind of shown that before, but not really in that way. And I thought about going in there and just starting to slice and dice. And I ultimately decided not to, because there might be a kid that has never sewn anything before, and she might, or he might end up watching that video, and that might be the very first thing that they try. And if I slice and dice and I cut something out that they might need, well, then what has that accomplished? I've made the video, 5 minutes shorter, 10 minutes shorter? What's the point? The point, as far as I'm concerned, is to be the best teacher I can be. And an hour and a half long video on that doll, yeah, you need it. It's complicated. There's lots of little steps in that, it's not hard. It's just a lot of like little details, and I really want that to be a project that you have a lot of fun with and it's successful. And so I didn't cut it, And if you get bored and you're like, oh well, Leah, you shot this, you shared this, I already know how to do that, then fast forward, keep on going, and you'll get on through it. And you'll have a very beautiful Miss Bunny doll. And then I am hoping to shoot her dress tutorial in the next couple of days. However, that might be slightly delayed because I am going to International Quilt Festival. So I am hopping on a plane on Thursday, and I will be at International Quilt Festival on November 8th and 9th. And then I will be flying, that is the Thursday and the Friday, and then I will be flying back home on Saturday early, so I won't be at the show on Saturday the 10th, but I will be there on the 8th and 9th, and I will be at Grace Company's booth. So if you are going to International Quilt Festival, please come by and see me and say, hello, my quilting friend. I absolutely love that. You will always get a smile and a laugh from me if you do that. So that would be a delight, and I would love to see you there. I'm really excited about that. I like to go to a big show and do that kind of thing about once a year. And it's been about, it's been about a year. Oh no. Actually, we did VDTA, which wasn't huge. It didn't feel massively huge, but we did VDTA in the spring, and that was really fun. We did that with Grace Company, and I really enjoyed that as well. But this is the big kahuna. I mean, Quilt Festival, I've gone to market for so many years, but I've never gone to Quilt Festival. And really what I'm intrigued to see is just the difference in energy. I'm really intrigued to see all of the quilters that come for the show, to see the quilts, to, to buy stuff in retail and, check out the machines and everything that comes with that. So I'm really wanting to see that awesome energy and to kind of feel that awesome energy of not necessarily like the professional quilters that I, see and get around at market, but the hobbyists, the people that love quilting just, for a craft and not for a business. And that's who I want to hang out with and have conversations with for a couple days. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And I don't necessarily love flying, but I do love getting to the place that I'm going and having a good time. So yeah, that's going to be really good. I always get nervous about flying, and I always kind of like leave the house like paranoid. I'm gonna die. I know it's so silly. I've talked to several people that are like, worked at airports, and just the sheer volume of planes coming and going every day, it's just so extremely rare that that's ever a problem with them. And that kind of helped whenever somebody told me that. That was really, really helpful. But still, it's just always one of those things. Just out of my comfort zone, away from home, is always just a little bit, kind of a little bit different, kind of pushes me out of my comfort zone, but that's a good thing. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. And yeah, I will be back next week, and I'll be able to share some news and insights from Quilt Market and what I see in the quilts there. I don't know how much, walking around I will have a chance to do. I will only be at the show for 2 days, but yeah, I just plan on having a good time more than anything else. So yeah, that is pretty much what I'm working on. I did get a little bit late on my Frame Quilting Friday video last week, and I will be completely honest, guys. I am really pushing hard to get the Quilt Along planned for next year, for 2019, the Leah's Friendship Quilt Along. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of very meticulous, detailed kind of this hurts my brain kind of stuff. And it's one of those situations where I had to be completely alone and, on my computer, no interruptions, and just so hyper focused on every single little detail. Because this is a situation where, if I miscalculate and have something written at 2.5 inches versus 2 inches, I could send you guys off cutting something incorrectly, and I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that it's really solid and perfect. And here is just a little sneak peek of the block. So this is block number 1, our Scrappy Star, and yes, these are some of the fabrics that you will find. I told you last week I sliced up Dad technically sliced up my entire stash into 5-inch squares, and then we're going to be pulling them starting probably this week, starting to pull them into packs, and they will be available at leahday.com. I'm thinking that we're going to wait and start that around Thanksgiving, and I'm thinking that first block pattern, I hope, that first block pattern can be done for the Thanksgiving sale. And that block pattern is going to include the instructions for block 1 and how to plan your quilt in 5 different sizes. So crib, throw, twin, king, and queen. You can make any of those sizes, and I'm doing the math to be able to calculate how much fabric you need, how many squares you need to cut, or if you want to do yardage, the yardage requirements, all that good stuff. It's a lot of math. It's a lot of quilting math. And what's good is I have actually made spreadsheets and Excel files that help me out with this, that it took a little while, and it was one of those things that I took some time to make. It was a couple of years ago, actually. I just got really annoyed having to run all that math, because you take a cut size and you divide it by the width of the fabric. So let's say you want how many 2-inch squares that you want, then you divide that by the width of the fabric, so 40 inches. So then you know how many squares to cut from a strip. Then you take the width of the strip and divide that by 1 yard, then you know how many pieces you can cut from a yard. And that math, it's tough to do on the fly, and it's one of those things that I have a lot of anxiety about. I'll be completely honest about it, and I acknowledge that about myself. I want to be right on my math calculations, and it really bugs me when I get something wrong. So I made this spreadsheet that makes it so much easier. I can basically plug and play. It calculates how many pieces can be cut, how many strips needed, and then gives me a very accurate fabric yardage amount, which is really good. And then I go from there and add a little bit of extra just to make sure, if you miscut, I would hate to be like, you're doomed, you make one miscut and the whole thing is messed up. No, that would be terrible. So I always add a little bit of extra, so just in case something happens, you're going to be okay. This pattern is a little bit more complicated because we've got the 5-inch square option. So, the idea is that if you wanted to, you could go buy a whole bunch of charm packs, pre-cut packs. You will probably need a few more because the charm packs, those pre-cut ones, usually have a jagged edge along the outside edge, so you don't get the whole square. So you got to watch out for that. But, yeah, technically you should be able to use it and it should be okay. So I'm wanting it to be compatible for that, but that adds to the math because then everything has to be, okay, well, how many units can you cut from a 5-inch square? And then, that of course is not as efficient as cutting from yardage. I know this is a whole lot of technical stuff about pattern writing that you're maybe not as interested in as I am, but it's one of those things I'm just trying to explain why I seem a little bit crazy and just a little bit stressed. That is why I really want to get this thing done. It really was kind of a shifting of focus. I had to get Miss Bunny and that pattern done. And then now my brain is completely laser focused on this quilt along and this particular pattern and getting this knocked out. And then I will probably be back to thinking about Mally the Maker and all that kind of stuff. I still need a list. Mally the Maker is my new fiction novel that just came out and is now out of pre-order, so it's now available. And I'm really wanting to get that listed on lots more sites. And so it's, it will be available through Amazon. It'll be available through, right now it's available through most places, but it can be available in more places and available on a Kindle. And Kobo is a new e-reader through Walmart, or actually it's been around for a while, but it's new that it has a partnership with Walmart. So different platforms like that, I really want to get it up, but right now I just can't even think about it. Changing the book format and, uploading and creating all these accounts and all this kind of stuff that comes with uploading versions of the book. I quite honestly, I just kind of had to say, all right, that's going to have to happen later. And I've got to focus on this other thing for a little while. And that's okay. I think the number one thing to keep in mind is to say yes to one thing is to say no to another. And in order to make, to kind of start the new quilt along in December rather than waiting until January, I've had to say no to a lot more things than I usually do around this time of the year, and that's okay. The quilt along is really, really good for us, for my family, for my business, and that's really, something that's important to me to get going and make sure it's going to be successful and a lot of fun for everybody. If that means that, some other things have to take a back seat for just a little while, like at, recording the audiobook for Mally the Maker, that's okay. In a lot of ways, Mally that book has definitely felt like an extra job more than anything else. I feel like I have my business, for quilting, and then I have the extra moonlighting business of being a writer. That's first thing in the morning, when I get my writing time in, and the two are kind of just two different jobs that I'm trying to do at the same time, and that's okay. I think it's going to take a while for Mally the Maker to be anywhere near as successful as my quilt teaching stuff, and that's okay too. I knew that was going to be a slow build, and I knew that was going to be something that will probably become more popular as I come out with more books. And speaking of that, I am working on book 2, and I want to start sharing an update on that every week because, there are times that I get bogged down and, and it really helps to just be able to share that and talk it through. And in this case, I had been trying dictation, and I really do enjoy dictation for writing blog posts and nonfiction. I can teach quilting in my sleep at this point. It's very easy to kind of be able to express my ideas, for a technical kind of side of quilting really, really easily. Fiction, not so much, really. I was getting a lot done, and I was writing down a lot of words, but then I was finding that I just needed so much editing. I was losing all of the description, and I love describing the world that Mally is in, and I was losing all of that. And then I got kind of stuck in chapter 3, and I just kind of I just got stuck in it and mucked around and mucked around and mucked around. Finally had to, fix it, edit some stuff out, and rewrite some stuff. And then I was just like, you know what? I think I'm going to stick with what worked before. And what worked before is just, kind of a speed write on the first draft, and then a good bit of editing, to tie it all together, and then editing as I went. And I think that's a better way. That worked really well for book 1, so it should work well for book 2. And so this week, it's really what I got back into, and got into chapter 4, and it's so much fun. Just like before, I'm having a blast. The story is very different, and I like that. I want each story to stand on its own, but then I also want it to continue the saga, what Mally is going through and all that good stuff. And so it's been a lot of fun, and it's a very different style of book. This is much more of a quest style book where Mally is going places and seeing people and doing things, and it's very interesting, kind of more Voyage of the Dawn Treader, if you've ever read that Chronicles of Narnia book. So yeah, I got stuck for a little while, and I had to work my way out of it, but I'm through that stuck state, and now I'm back on, kind of setting down, and I try to sit down and just say, okay, just write, just get to the next stage or get to the next thing. And then I write a whole bunch, get a whole lot out, and then go back through and, I kind of go back through and read it, and I go back through and read it, and I go back through and read it. And like, oh, Mally needs to be, she doesn't have the right emotion. She should be scared right here, or she should be happy right here, or she should be excited right here. And, those are the things that you kind of have to sprinkle in as you go. And I love it. I love world building like this. I love incorporating things that I want to make. And this book has a hexagon quilt in it that Mally's going to turn into something fun for transportation. Not going to give anything away, but I'm really excited about that. And yeah, it's an adventure. And more than anything else, what I love about writing is the ability to create something completely with words. And I don't have to worry about the quilt pattern. I don't have to worry about trying to make it. I get to just invent it with words, and that is marvelous. And that's easy peasy. It really, really is. Actually then turning around and making a real quilt out of it, that is the challenge, but it's definitely something fun. And yes, I am planning on making the Quilt of Quilst. That is the quilt in book 1, Mally the Maker and the Queen in the Quilt. And I'm planning on doing something with spoon flower with that, and probably something pretty quick. Like I said, priority number 1 is the quilt along, number 2 is Mally, and so I'm thinking if I can get the quilt along in a great state, then I can turn my attention back to Mally and maybe do a few printed panels with spoon flower. Maybe something like a hoop quilt. I think that would be fun. I would love to make a hoop quilt of the landscape and then do some hand quilting. That would be a lot of fun. That would be really cool. Yeah, it's just, it's just busy. I'll be honest. It's just really, really busy. And I feel bad when I, am a little late on a tutorial or something like that, but I have to also kind of prioritize. And when it's a choice of, okay, I need to go shoot something, or I need to run this quilt math. Sometimes the quilt math is what's taking precedence. It's just what seems to be the most important thing for me to get done on any particular day. And because of that, I may get back to design videos for a little while, just some quick and easy stuff. Maybe some stuff for Christmas. Let me know what you're needing as far as designs for Christmas goes. Like quick, do you need quick stuff? Do you want seasonal stuff? What would you be interested in seeing? And I've got a few ideas for the long arm, but I'm always looking for more. So yeah, let me know what you think, what your opinion of some good tutorials for this time of the year would be. And yeah, it's I'm not kidding when I say I'm ever so slightly overwhelmed, and that's okay. This is not my state normally. I hope you guys know. I'm usually very relaxed and calm and, plenty of time for everything. And it's rare that I feel kind of really pushed to get something done in a very, very speedy way. And I think that's good, though. I think that there are always going to be those times when you just gotta hustle. And I've been listening to a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary is a really good entrepreneur. He's kind of one of those motivational guys that kind of encourages you to do good on your business and that kind of thing. And he kind of cusses a lot, and I think that's a little bit immature now, but he's got a lot of really good advice, I feel like. And one of the things that I really enjoyed hearing from him recently was just his opinion about, die on your own sword. And I really appreciate that, because he's like, look, yeah, it can be tough, and it's a hustle, but it's your hustle. It's no one else's hustle. And yeah, so, if something messes up or something doesn't work out, hey, at least you died on your own sword and not somebody else's sword. And I like that concept. It's challenging. It's hard. And I love that about Gary, that he is always saying, look, it is a challenge. Stop expecting it to be easy. Stop feeling entitled to it being easy. And I really appreciate that about Gary. He really gives it to you, straight, and doesn't, he doesn't mince words really at all. And I like that about him a lot. So that's been really, really helpful. And, my word for the year is challenge. And I've got a few other challenges that I'm kind of thinking about and processing and working through that I'll be sharing probably in December. We'll see. But yeah, I know that, I know what's hard, and I know what's difficult, and I know what pushes me. And I know that getting this done is the best possible use of my time right now. And it's also exactly what I want to be doing. And so all of that feels really, really good. So that's really it for the news around the house. You got to see the first block for our quilt along. And this is not a mystery, I should add. I am sharing images. You will be able to see the images, like graphic designs of the blocks in the first block pattern that will be available hopefully for the Thanksgiving sale. And you'll be able to see all the images. The thing that's going to be the mystery is the quilting. So you will not be able to see the quilting until the actual quilting tutorial that comes out on, and I'm going to do 2 tutorials. It'll be the second Monday of the month, and then the third Monday of the month. And so when those tutorials come out, that's when you'll learn the quilting. And this is going to be really fun, because I'm not doing a marked design. It's not going to be as complicated as we've done in years past. It's going to be a lot simpler. It's going to be a lot more streamlined. The quilting is going to be easier in general, and I really like that. I'm leaning more towards a simplistic style that makes a really soft, cozy bed quilt. That's really what I want to make. And I hope that you're looking forward to that too. I have got some more complicated things in mind for other extra projects, kind of like mini quilt-alongs, like what we did with Eternal Love, the goddess quilt that we did last year. So I've got ideas for that type of thing, to incorporate that into the year, but to really keep the quilt along very simple, very scrappy, very patchworky, and to have a lot of fun just playing with fabrics, doing a lot of intense piecing, and then making some blocks that are going to be soft and cozy and perfect for crib quilts, throw quilts, bed quilts, whatever you are needing, and whatever size you need too. So this is the first time I've ever really trying to make everybody happy on the different sizes. We'll see if it works out. I don't know. Jury's still out on that one. So yeah, that is what I'm working on. And I hope that you'll come and check out the Miss Bunny sewing pattern. Like I said, it was one of the longest tutorials that I have ever shot. And I was finishing it up, and Josh was like, how long is this thing? And I said 12 videos, and they're each about 20 minutes each. And he was like, do you need to make it that long? And I said, well, yeah, I really did. It needed to be that long. It was necessary to explain all of the steps, and I honestly think it's one of the best things I've ever made. And that feels really, really good. like I said, there's that feeling of doing a really good job on something that I think that gives me a boost more than anything else. When I know that, man, that would be something that I'm so happy to be putting my name on it. That feels really, really good. So I got 4 little boxes on my apothecary cabinet filled up nicely with laces. I've got a lot of yardage, where I went and bought a lot more lace at once. So I think I'm going to probably tuck those into a different bin. And then I'll get started spinning up my little spools and covering them with this thread. So this was a lot of fun. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I know I'm sorry if I seem tired, and I'm sorry if I seem overwhelmed. There's a little bit of that going on, I gotta say, and that's okay. I think it's good to show you that it's not all, it's not all blissful hand spinning all the time. There is some days when it's tough, and it's just a matter of get the work done, get the work done, get the work done, and that's okay. I would rather die on my own sword. I would rather work for myself than anyone else. And I absolutely love what I do, and I feel so very fortunate to be able to do it. And I think that more than anything else is what keeps me going. It's just knowing that it's up to me. Sink or swim. It really is up to me. And I keep trying new things. I keep trying new ideas, and it's always worth experimenting. But then ultimately, sometimes I'm kind of like, well, I know that didn't work. Let's not do that again. And get back on track and try something else. So that's it for this week. I really hope that you enjoyed hearing this kind of rambly conversation about next year's quilt along. I'm really, really looking forward to this, and I cannot wait to start quilting these blocks both on my home machine and on my long arm. That's going to be really, really exciting too. So come and learn more about the new quilt along at leahday.com/friendship. It's Leah's Friendship Quilt Along. You'll find lots more details there. And then, cross my fingers, if I can get all my work done, then we will have the new first block pattern, which includes resizing information for 5 different sizes of the quilt. And hopefully that will be launching for the Thanksgiving sale on Thanksgiving Day at the very best price that you will be able to get it all year. So I hope that you will be excited about that and come and check it out at leahday.com/friendship. And one last thing, please come and check out the new free motion quilting project. I'm finally done with it. Had a great experience working with some guys that, really did a smooth redirect from the old blog, freemotionquilting.blogspot.com. They smoothly redirected it to freemotionproject.com. You can find all of the tutorials, all of the posts, everything's still organized. I still need to do a little bit of housekeeping, but here's a cool new feature. You can now post comments, and you can post a photo of your quilt with your comments. So if you're having an issue, if you're having some ugly stitches or some thread breaks or some whatever, share a picture with me and ask for help, and I will be able to take a look at your picture and be able to see how to help you out and provide some feedback. You can also share pictures of your quilts, the ones that you've made from previous quilt-alongs, the blocks that you're working on. I would love to see that. And it is getting that same awesome interaction that we get on Facebook, but not on Facebook. It's on the Free Motion Quilting Project, so that everyone that comes to those posts will benefit, will be able to see your question, see your, quilting, good things and bad things, and be able to learn from you, be able to learn from the responses that happen naturally. I really, really feel positive about this. I'm so excited about the new Free Motion Quilting Project, and I'm really trying to do blogging daily there now. So please come and check it out. Comment and share a photo just to test out the new system. I'm still kind of going, is everything working? So also post a photo just to let me know that it's working okay. So I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. Come and find more podcast episodes at leahday.com/podcast. Until next time, let's go quilt.